This morning, destructive flooding and tens of thousands without power along the East Coast as remnants of Tropical Storm Ophelia move up the East Coast. The center of the storm now moving into Maryland. Overnight in Virginia, Ophelia flooding roads. The strong winds creating dangerous offshore conditions and damaging homes from fallen trees. Ophelia making landfall in North Carolina Saturday, flooding coastal communities, waves crashing into homes. A U.S. Coast Guard helicopter lighting the way for the Coast Guard cutter after rescuing 5 people, including 3 young children, stranded on a 38-foot catamaran anchored off Cape Lookout as Ophelia caused swells as high as 10 feet. The storm's fierce winds knocking trees down onto homes and causing thousands to lose power. In Delaware, the storm bringing strong winds inland and along the shore, as well as coastal flooding. And in New Jersey, Ophelia churning the ocean off Atlantic City as the storm approaches. Advisories warning of a high risk for dangerous rip currents. Some coastal communities already flooded. This woman rescued from her car stuck in the rising water. Residents wary of what's yet to come.
It just comes up so fast you don't realize it. You could be walking down the street and then you come back 10 minutes later and the whole street is flooded.
Now, wildfires continue across continents, and 3 countries, Canada, Italy and Colombia, continued to battle the conflagration over the weekend. Canada continues to endure its worst wildfire season on record. Over 166,000 square kilometers of land is already burnt. More than 1,000 fires were active across the country last week, and 650 of these were deemed to be out of control. Satellite images showed wildfires in British Columbia and Alberta. The fires have engulfed parts of nearly all 13 Canadian provinces and territories this year, forcing home evacuation, disrupting energy production, and drawing on federal as well as international firefighting resources. Meanwhile, in Italy, at least 2 people have died in wildfires in northern Sicily. Firefighters continue to battle wildfires in the area. A total of 800 firefighters are on duty, and 300 of them are concentrating on extinguishing fires in the provinces of Palermo and Messina. 2 people have died and 700 tourists were evacuated from their hotel overnight following wildfires in Sicily. A 42-year-old woman died while trying to save her horses in Cefalù. And a 68-year-old man died after fleeing his burning home near Balestrate. The estimated 700 guests in the Hotel Costa Verde near Cefalù were evacuated late Friday as fires approached, although they returned after a few hours. Strong Sirocco winds and high temperatures added to the difficulties in firefighting efforts. And Colombia's 3 biggest cities, Cali, also battled raging wildfires for more than 10 hours. Fires flared up on the hills of Altos de Manca in the north of capital of the Valle de Cauca province.
Due to the fast-pacing climate change phenomena, higher temperatures and unanticipated rainfall have become common. The increasing heat stress is limiting crop yield growth, interfering with the crop's reproduction and growth cycles. Agriculture is the lifeblood of India. In India, a significant portion of agriculture depends on rainfall rather than irrigation. Around 50% of India's crop cultivation area is rain-fed. This makes it particularly vulnerable to climate impacts. Now, what's important to note is that India is the world's largest producer of milk, pulses, ginger, okra, banana, mango, and papaya. Meanwhile, the second largest producer of onion, rice, wheat, sugarcane, peanuts, and cotton. Out of all these crops, rice makes for the biggest part of India's cereal exports. Rice also is the most sensitive to fluctuations in monsoon rainfall among all other crops. Due to the rise in temperature and changes in water availability, climate change is affecting irrigated agricultural production throughout agroecological zones. According to Indian Ministry of Agriculture, hydrometeorological calamities, including heavy rainfall and floods, have damaged over 83 million acres of India's cropped area between 2015 and 16 and 2021 and 22.
Floods brought by torrential rains left a scene of destruction in the Indian city of Nagpur on Sunday. As roads turned into rivers, heavy rains forced residents living in low-lying areas to evacuate. Residents in these areas of the city saw cars damaged and household items ruined by flood waters. Maharashtra's Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis visited the worst affected areas and said the situation remained critical. He estimated loss to around 10,000 houses and assured necessary financial assistance. On Friday night, the heavens unleashed their fury, taking Nagpur residents by surprise. In the early hours of Saturday, the city woke up to find their homes and roads submerged due to the torrential downpour. The state government has said that at least 70 students from school for the speech and hearing impaired have been rescued. Heavy downpour claimed life of an elderly woman in this city. The government has directed authorities to provide relief shelters for those who've been rescued. An additional rescue team will also be deployed if the water levels continue to increase. Now the Indian Met Department has forecast thunderstorm with lightning in isolated places around Nagpur. For Nagpur, it has forecast generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers till September 28th. The total rainfall recorded in Nagpur over the weekend was around 31.6 millimeters. This as IMD Nagpur issued a severe lightning warning with an appeal to the people for taking the wailing seriously. The advisor asked people to stay indoors and not to venture out unless absolutely necessary.